Hello, everybody. I'll just wait to see if some people come in here. Hopefully, they do. I know it's probably a bad time to go live. Hello, hello. Happy New Year to everybody, or Happy New Year's Eve. I hope everybody can hear me okay. Hopefully, they can. Hello. Hopefully, everybody is getting on in here. I'll just wait a little while. I hope everybody can hear me okay. Well, we have one person in here I can see. Okay. Well, I don't know how many people we're going to get in here, but we can hopefully get more. What I would like to talk about tonight is satellite imagery. Okay, am I echoing at all? I hope not. Thank you. Satellite imagery and how it may help in maybe finding something or finding out what happened to poor little Summer Wells. Um, I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with, I'm sure you guys are, Kylan and Crystal, the girls that were um, murdered in Moab, Utah, right around the Gabby Petito time. Well, they, her dad hired a private investigator, and the private investigator hired this company to get some satellite images from where their campsite was located. And from those satellite images, they did get some information. I don't believe they've released that information yet, what they had found from those satellite images. But if they're able to do that in Moab, Utah, I believe that they could probably do it at 110 Ben Hill Road also. That's in my opinion. Um, I found hello, Andrea, hello, Crystal. I hope you guys are having a good New Year's Eve. Um, what I was searching is, you guys know who Chloe Smith is. She was taken from her tent in Australia. Well, they could have used high resolution satellite imagery to help solve the mystery of who took little Cleo at her remote campsite. Home alone, relaxing. Me too. Me too. There's a couple different kinds of satellite imaging that um, they use. One is visible, one is infrared, and one is water vapor. The infrared satellite imagery can close in on obviously images of heat, But the problem with that is the animals that are in the area. Yes. Dingoes, exactly, or other wild animals that are in the area. There was an accident that had happened. Um, I'm trying to find where these individuals got into an accident and they had a car accident and they like disappeared. This mother and child. And what they did was they used the satellite infrared imagery to zero down on the heat spots, and they were able to actually find these people. They were deceased when they did find them, of course, but they were able to locate them from the accident that had happened. Um, they say, I wish my computer was working because I'd be able to guys show you this better than me just talking about it. But um, it, a lot of it sounds to me good. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard of Bullhorn Betty and JLR and she when they go down to Tennessee, I guess this next time in the next couple of days, they plan on going to the TBI, and I don't know what they're going to do there. But if that doesn't work, they plan on raising money to get satellite imagery from 110 Ben Hill Road, um, which may or may not, help us determine what happened to this poor little girl. Um, and like I said, if they could do it in Moab and zero in, like maybe not on a face or whatever, they can zero on what vehicles were in the area per se, right? Per se, like the red trucks everybody's looking for or whatever. Because this little girl really does need to be found. She really does. I don't know how many of you guys are agreeing with what Bullhorn Buddy and them do, but it's a a give and take situation. Some people like what they're doing, some people don't like what they're doing. Everybody has their own opinion on that, but honestly, I think they did bring us back a little bit of information. I don't know because you have to go through a private company to get the satellite imagery, and it's kind of expensive. I hope that the FBI would do it. I would hope. You would think they would because they have to know something. I deep in my heart, I believe that they know obviously a lot more than we know about her or what happened that day. I don't understand how her parents are getting away with as much as they are. Now, I'm not saying they're guilty. I'm not saying they're not guilty. I'm not saying they harmed this child in any way. Do I believe that they know what happened to her? In a sense, yes. But everybody is innocent until proven guilty. Do you guys agree for the most part? I would hope. Google Earth does show you a lot. And I was reading about how a 22-year-old case was solved by this infrared satellite imaging. And I had this really good article up, and then I lost it. Oh, I agree too. I do believe in some cases there is corruption. A lot of times in those small towns, there is a lot of corruption going on. And how many cases have there been? The Memphis Three, the West Memphis Three. Look at those men did how many years in prison, and they were innocent. Um, it's really hard. Um, Ronnie Lawson's up for election. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't help either. Which they might that might put a fire up under his ass to get it going and finding her, or not. I hope so. I mean, what do you guys feel that is going on there? Do you believe it's just a witch hunt for the parents, or it's hard. It's hard to say. I don't want to accuse anybody of being guilty, but guilty knowledge is another thing. Okay, so I'm going to read this little part here I have. It says identifying and capturing the last known position of a missing person is imperative. Quite often, we receive a phone call from the next of kin to report the loved one missing, and they provide whatever information they can about when and where they were last seen, says Constable Downs. Sometimes the missing persons themselves activates a distress beacon, which provides us with latitude and longitude coordinates. And sometimes they make calls from their mobile phones to report they are lost. When it comes to search missions, one second. Oh, including the church. Don't get me wrong. I believe the church is a little out there too. I've done some research on them, and they do operate very, they're unusual. They have unusual beliefs, they have unusual practices. Um, I've read good things, I've read bad things. It's very questionable they are, and the people surrounding it. Okay, so the senior constable they're speaking to, he uses what is called a GIS platform to collaborate data. And it says he was engaged to build the platform to operate in a field which corroborates the data from taking the initial call to providing evidence in court or to the coroner about the outcome. Okay. And they're all stored in a place where they can go back and check and track the progress of the search over ever happened in the data. So all of the information they gather, they put in one spot so they can go back and check on what was searched, what wasn't searched, the recall of where the teams have searched and haven't searched. And they use it as to print a professional map for search teams. Then the GIS system is able to download this data and overlay it with other maps to enable the ground and air search teams to maximize their search. Oh, they have their own adoption program also? I know they have their own missing person thing. Their missing person um a lot, or I guess whatever drill, missing persons drill, which is unusual to me. So this is going on about how they use the GIS um, to coordinate the land search. And then what they do is we can plot the position of the topographical map, which is in GIS base, and use all the types of data relating to the missing person to build on areas of where we should and shouldn't search. Based on this, he says the team can accurately coordinate land search and send out correct people to maintain positional accuracy. This is how they would use it in a search. That way, this information is closely collaborated between the NSW police squad emergency services such as ambulance services, state emergency services, rural fire services, volunteer rescue services, national parks and wildlife services. And all the agencies then are able to share this information and data quickly and easily. I know that is horrible. That is just uncalled for and not right for them to do stuff like that. It's not, yeah, scare the children every week. That's horrible, just horrible. And really, who does that? It's just, I've never in my life. Okay. So, the Australian National University said that Australia could have requested retrospective access to a range of government and spy satellites with high resolution, resolution high enough to determine the make and model of a car, but only if the satellite was in the right position at the right time. There's always tons of, I've never heard of it either. It's really, I've never heard of any church to do something to that matter or practice anything of that matter. It's weird. Um, there's always satellites that are passing overhead. So at any time, I mean, the high resolution ones are a bit more limited, but they're also going overhead at every single point, every half a day, but not every hour. If they thought that they were able to track something, say that during the day, say at the campsite that Chloe went missing from, such as a car, they could have used satellite imagery to track down that timeline. And it's not always in the highest or best resolution possible, but they are able to detect some things. Like I said, in the Kylan and Crystal case in Moab, I know they have gotten something from their satellite imagery that they did Um, okay, so we know that Chloe was found safely, thank gosh, and under unusual circumstances, but safely. But for example, they said that they had witnesses that had reported a car screeching away from that site around 3 a.m. and two travelers on Northwest Coastal Highway said they saw a car turn south onto the highway from 50 kilometer that led to the road's campsite around 3 or 3:50. Now, the satellite imagery for that night was less advanced for identifying or tracking a vehicle. But then again, there's always the infrared and thermal imagery, which like heat vision or night vision, but the resolution is poor. So the car wouldn't be in the best of pixels. But then again, you can also see heat like bodies, but that's where the animals come into play, where you may not be able to for sure detect if it was an animal or a human. Okay. 1 second. Oh, I wish I could just show this. It'd be so much easier. Okay, so the basic satellite images are first heat in true color, full color in infrared, and true color in infrared, and full color and full heat. And I'm sure all of us have looked at Google Earth, and you can see how detailed those are, the maps and whatnot. So if you brought up a Google Earth map of, say, 110 Ben Hill Road on the day Summer Wells went missing, what would you see? Now, it depends. I know some of them aren't current. I'm not sure about Google Earth, how often they update their images. For that, um, or when the last time a picture was taken for that area. But I do believe that something could come from this. I really do. I do believe that we would get a little bit more information if they don't have that information already. What do you guys think? Do you think it would tell us a different story? Would it tell us. That's another thing about this property, also. I posted it in one of my videos. Now, if you type in 110 Ben Hill Road, Rogersville, Tennessee, you get two addresses. You get an address of 110 Ben Hill Road, which would be at the end of the dog trail by the road. I believe, I don't know if that's Beach Creek or whatever highway that is. And the actual home of the Wells is addressed 165 Ben Hill Road. Now, I've heard different stories of it's because of the addressing, it's because of a fire that has happened there. If there was a house there and it burnt down. Um, but I just think it's unusual for just the U.S. Postal Service. Um, why it would have two addresses? Why would the actual home be addressed as 165, and when you type in 110, it's down at the end of the dog trail? That's very unusual to me. That I'm still looking into, but is still strange in my opinion. What do you guys think? Oh yes, Summer's case is a lot bigger than anybody would ever imagine. I think it's a lot bigger than her parents even thought it would remotely become to be. I don't believe they ever thought in any way that it would remotely go this far. What do you guys think? Yeah, 13 days ago, they got the information back from the satellite imagery from the Crystal or Kylan shooting and Crystal Turner case. And they were able to get something from it. Yeah, it looks like a large shed. And that it makes me question that very much. Because, like people have said, does that 110, does that have a basement? Does it, what is, and why is there a shed there? That makes me question a lot of things. Andrea, are you from that area? It's just a very unusual thing to have. This property must have been separated at one time, obviously. It's 112 feet from their actual home. Like I said, which makes me question because does that, like people have said, does that have a basement? Is it, like you said, looks like a shed? You're in Canada. Does that, um, what exactly is inside of that? And why would there be a shed there? That's unusual. Now, I don't know if, because they're out in such a rural area, if they have to have a P.O. box. I know where I'm from, some towns near me have to have a P.O. box. Um, have to have a P.O. box, and that's just because they're a small town and they just go there to get their mail. Or I don't know. It's just an unusual thing to me. I just don't see it would be because you figure, and I have heard that before, that the shed would have a basement if it would be the original home. Um, why there's a shed there is unusual to me also. um, considering that the home where they live now obviously has some type of basement or whatever you would call it, because that's where Summer's home or Summer's room was or is. Um, it'd just be interesting to know, like, the facts. Why is there a shed over a home or over a foundation or whatever is there? Why is there a shed in there? That makes me question a whole bunch. A whole bunch. I mean, it's just, and to have the two different addresses is even more unusual because, either you have one address on the property and that's it, normally. It's very questionable, in my opinion. Yeah, most places, unless you are like a modular home or a trailer home, most places do all have basements. Or cellars or some type of something, down there underneath you for the most part. Unless, like I said, you're a mobile home where you're just, or a modular home where you just set your trailer or whatever on your property. So that would be interesting to see. And like again, what gets me is that why is there a shed there? Why is there why is there a shed over that address? That could be. I thought they owned that land. Like they own 11.5 acres, I believe it is, of that land. I do know it used to be a total of 18 acres and it was sold off into different areas, okay, different people. But I believe that is part of their property. And I'm not sure if that is the shed that they all speak of when they say, is that the shed that Dawn went down to when looking for Summer? or what? It's questionable, very questionable, very questionable. And I do believe a satellite image of this hill the day she went missing would be telling, very telling, especially with the accounts of from Jody Sue. Yeah, I agree. Because according to Jody Sue, she said that she saw a vehicle in the area that wasn't like something that was normally in the area. Okay, well, I don't think she ever said that she saw it leave or she saw it come down from the hill. Um, that's where the satellite imagery would be interesting to see because let's say perhaps they did, the satellites were in the perfect position at the perfect time, they would be able to have captured an image possibly of that vehicle so we could possibly look into it more or any other vehicles that were around that area that day. Do you guys agree? I'm trying to look for like Beach Creek. I guess Beach Creek Road would be, oh yeah, that's how their driveway goes down. Yeah, that would be the closest to it. Now, when Sue talks about the perfect storm, I understand where she's talking about when she's coming from. The perfect storm, meaning they had all those tree trimmers in the area that day. They had people coming over by her to look at the land that was for sale. For sure. The shed would scare me in general. And I've never seen a property with addresses like this. I don't know. Maybe it's this area that is just like that or what, but it's very unusual for one property to have two addresses. It is an unincorporated area, but still, it's just unusual. Um, so I understand where Jody Sue is coming from, where she said it's the perfect storm, with with the amount of people coming in and out of the area, and the people from different areas. I know, and some people don't really like her. Some people say she's hard to listen to. Um, some people say that she's not telling the truth. Um, but you have to, at this point, you have to give everybody a chance and look at every angle. That's what I'm feeling here. Because after 6 months, we've got nothing. We really don't have anything solid. Um, as in, okay, so the TBI in Hawkins County have said that the chances of it being an abduction are slim to none. Now, we've known that probably since the beginning, right? That their narratives just don't go with what is the day went, with how the day went. Um, so it comes to be, could foul play, which they're really leaning towards these days. Foul play. But I really believe that if she was on that land with the last search they just did after the leaves fell, um, I believe that if she was there, they would have found her. Now, it could possibly they're going to possibly be that they're going to come back and maybe search one more time now that the leaves have fallen completely, and there's a little bit more left to be openly seen. That I don't know, but it may be for the good. And it's really hard because, like, we go with Don's narrative. He just came out with he knows where she is. She's at a hotel in Knoxville, and so on and so forth there. And then we have the H and how there was an accident with H, and she got hit with a car. And then there's so many different stories rolling around out there that you kind of have to take each one and look at it and then kind of like make your own opinion if that's obviously, you know, um, which is relevant and which is not, which has the most factual information and which is not. Like I said, by no means do I think they're completely innocent, this family. I do believe they both have guilty knowledge, with Don Wells' 7 alibis and Candace has none. Um, I mean, he was just arrested for drunk driving, and there's no excuse why they couldn't have hauled him in there and interrogated them. Oh, I can guarantee that the parents never ever even expected that that it would be to this extreme whatsoever. I think that they thought, oh, whatever happened, we'll report her missing. It'll blow on over, 1, 2, 3, and we'll go on with our lives. When it comes to the trafficking, that's the problem with Tennessee. Tennessee borders 7 different states. Okay? And with Tennessee bordering that many states, it's considered a hub of drug and sex trafficking. Um, Meaning that you have so many states that surround you, you can up and be gone into who knows what state in a matter of a couple of hours. Um, I believe the reason why he drove home after that DUI, and I know a lot of people have talked about it, is first of all because he didn't take a breathalyzer. He went to the hospital for blood. Therefore, they can't really consider him, even though I'm sure he took his field sobriety test, and obviously he didn't pass and he was under the influence. But the reason why they haven't taken his license yet is because he took a blood test instead of a breathalyzer, and they can't say for sure whether he was over the blood alcohol level or not. And again, like I said, he's innocent until proven guilty. So therefore, until he is like convicted of a DUI or a DWI, um, they can't really take his license. Now, when he goes to court in February, that's a whole nother story. They'll have his blood work back. And I'm guaranteeing his blood work is going to come back with more than alcohol in his system, which then is going to give him a new charge of driving under the influence and driving while intoxicated. Which is not good. It doesn't look good for the courts, and it doesn't look good for CPS also. And they're, those boys. Now, when it comes to like Allie and what really concerns me is that in this last interview that I heard, she said that Hunter was very upset and very disturbed and very traumatized by the events happening that day. That makes me question um, if something really did happen with Hunter that day accidentally. Could it have been, she did get hit by a car and Candace was like, oh shit, and whatnot, and tried to cover it up or whatnot. I don't know. But and now he's in protective custody. I wonder too. I wonder what they will be charged with, or if they will be charged with neglect or abuse of those boys. Um, yeah. No child should ever, ever, ever live like that. No child should ever, no one should ever go without food, ever. No child should ever have to endure any type of anything like that. That's just plain out neglect. That's just, you just don't care. And you should probably stop having kids at that point, in my opinion. Because if you couldn't keep the ones you had before they were born, you probably shouldn't have more. Unless, don't get me wrong, there are parents that have children young that just aren't ready to be parents and they mess up and their children are taken. And as they get older, they may have, more children. And now they've gotten older and they know, their lifestyle is not the same way. But those parents have learned from their past mistakes. When you have parents that just have children knowing they're not going to change their lifestyle or the way they are, those parents should not keep having children because the only ones that suffer are the children. And that's quite unfortunate because those children don't deserve. It is. It's absolutely cruel. It's absolutely, in my opinion, disgusting. Um, it's just wrong. And I do know how CPS works. Well, in most, at least in my state, you're given 1 year to fix the things that you need to fix in your life, which includes drug and if you have a drug and alcohol problem, that means yes, you need to go to drug and alcohol counseling and treatment. Um, if it's the condition of your home, those conditions of your home need to be improved, and you need to have a a house check. They will come through your house and check your house, make sure it's up to par, make sure it's safe, make sure everything that needed to be fixed is fixed. And don't get me wrong, CPS does not want your children. They don't want to. The government does not want to sit there and keep your children and have to keep paying for for your children to take care of them. They are more than willing to help you, but you have to be willing to take that help. If you're not willing to take that help, then you've got 1 year. After 1 year, they're not going to sit around and play with you anymore. There are parents out there and there are people out there that are willing to care and love and take care of your children. And that's the sad part about it is parents, I know Too many people that have had, no, it's just not right. I know a girl a couple years ago, she had 7 children. 7. And all 7 were taken from her. And a year after those 7 were taken from her, she had another baby. I mean, first of all, and she was younger than me. She was like 30, 35, I think, with 7 kids. It's just, yeah, and it's sad because if they don't get to go all to the same home, it's one thing. But I, from what I do know, or what I have heard, I don't know anything for fact, obviously. Um, from what I do know, those children don't even want to go back. And that has been stated from Don's own mouth that the children have no desire to even go back there because they're thriving in the environment they are in right now so much that they don't care to even go back to an environment like that. And can you blame them? And he stated that outright clearly before, that his own children don't want to go back. They're thriving in school. Actually, from what I heard, via another channel who has a good source to the case, actually, she has somebody who her son is, or not the creator, but one of the kids, the boys' friends, is a parent that went on her channel, and she stated that the TBI and they came and social services came and got them. Those poor kids need security when they go out. Yeah, foster parents do get paid, and that is scary because a lot of them then end up doing it just for the money. And on the other hand, you know what I mean? Then they just get put in homes that they're doing it just for the money. Like the Turpin children, I think it was the 13 Turpin children that their parents had them locked up in the house and the girl escaped out the window. Actually, what's really sad about them is that they had over $600,000 raised from them for them when they got out of their situation, and it was for all of them to go to homes and have money for when they got out of foster care, or while they were in foster care, like if they needed things. And they did not get 1 cent of that money. Not 1 cent the public raised for them. The one boy couldn't even get a bike to get back to and from work. And then a couple of them were re-abused in foster homes that they were put into. Those poor children, they went through so many years of abuse in that home, and yet they're still having to struggle. And you don't want that to happen. And like you said, like, foster parents do get paid. They do get paid. And that is scary because, and I'm not sure how well of a check they do into some of those foster parents because, like I said, they sometimes those kids get put back into homes where the abuse is then continued, which is so wrong in every which way possible. Every which way possible. Yeah, those poor Turpin kids, seriously, like, all that money. They even went to like their caseworker and said, "Where's this money? Why can't so and so get a simple bike to go to and from work? Why can't they do this?" Some of them were couch surfing. Some of them were living in bad areas, and they're just trying to they're trying to learn life alone. They're trying to learn how to live life, much less get put into like bad neighborhoods. And they know nothing about that. They were locked in their home for how many years? They know nothing about the outside world. And for them to do that to them, where they had payees and people there to, take care of their money and help them, and all they did was steal from them. That's so wrong in every way. So I wish for the best for those boys. I do. Because I really don't think that their parents are doing what they need. Like I said, first of all, they need drug and alcohol treatment, both of them. And they're never ever, I mean, and mental health treatment and whatnot. Like they need all of that in order for them to even, they're not just going to go throw those kids back in a place where it wasn't happy in the first place. Yeah, she was 30. I know. She was 30. A couple of them were pretty older. And that's so sad. Can you imagine being 30 years old and not knowing what the outside world is like? Not knowing, like, barely how to read or barely how to write or barely how to live or barely how to do anything? And then being thrown into a bad neighborhood where you have to live because all your money that these people raised for you somehow shazammed and disappeared. It's horrible. Just horrible. And no one knows what happened to it. No one knows. Super sad. Super, super sad. So back to my thoughts on this property. I'm going to look back at, do you think the parents were on drugs? I think they were simply, well, according to what I have heard, like I said, none of this is for truth, it's from what I heard, that their drug tests were failed. Um, they failed for methamphetamine, marijuana, and cocaine. Now, in my opinion, and this is my opinion only, I don't consider marijuana a drug. Marijuana is legal in many states. It is not legal where I live, um, unless it's medically needed, and it's not legal in Tennessee. Now, I don't know if it the medical marijuana is legal there or not. Now, where my family lives in Illinois, where I'm from, um, marijuana is legal. So different people look at different marijuana different ways. And when it comes to CPS here, when it comes to like smoking marijuana, yeah, when it comes to smoking marijuana, they don't look, they don't, it's not as harsh as say like methamphetamine or any other kind of drug to that matter. Um, but it is still a drug unless it's legal in your state. So I don't know how they look at it in Tennessee. Um, but I really truly do believe that they do have substance abuse problems. I do know they have alcohol problems. Um, for a fact. They drink their R&R whiskey every night. It's been seen on TV or been seen on YouTube and whatnot. And Down's sisters has also stated that he's had drug problems in the past before. His legs do have track marks on them. So I don't know. But all that has to be taken into consideration when it comes to getting your children back, obviously. That's a big, huge thing, you would think. And the 6 month mark is already almost up there since they lost the boys. Um, Another thing that disturbs me is Don and his way of looking at children as, for example, Allie's child, her 13-year-old little girl, they call her Bear Bear. There's no reason why any grown man of 57 years old, oh, oh no, no, poor Turpins. Oh no, the Turpin family, yeah, they were just bizarre. That's another religion thing, those Turpins. They were, I think they were, now I'm not dissing any Mormons. I have no problem with people who are Mormon. But I believe they were Mormon, maybe Baptist. Yes, they were a strange, bizarre couple. Very bizarre. Very, very bizarre, those Turpins. Very unusual types of individuals. I feel so bad for those children, even though they're not really, some of them aren't even children anymore. They're doing a lot better now. I just don't know how parents can do that to children. It blows my mind every day, the things that I hear about what parents do to their kids. It's sickening, actually. Like the poor children who were in, I believe it was Texas, and they were left in that apartment with their brother dead in the other bedroom for over a year, and the parents would just come every 2 weeks and, I don't know, throw them some ramen noodles. And the one who was beat in the face so bad he had an infection. That's sick. Sick. They should be imprisoned for life. Just horrible people. Yeah, no, they weren't on drugs. Oh no. Actually, he owned a very successful company, I believe. A very successful company at one time. Successful company, I believe. Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna shut this down now for now, because other people are going live and I know that they're getting all the views. But I want to thank you everybody for stopping by. If you would like, subscribe and give me a thumbs up there, that'd be great. Um, I would like to start covering the little Michael Monkey case that's out there. His mom needs all the coverage she can get. He went missing a little bit after summer and hasn't got very much coverage. He was missing from Iowa, I believe. I'm not sure because I haven't looked into that case much, but that would be an interesting one to look into. That little boy needs to be found just like any other little missing child in the world. So, thank you guys for stopping by. It was a nice little discussion. I hope you guys all have a happy and safe New Year's Eve. And thank you to everyone that has subscribed to my channel. I do appreciate you. And without you guys, um, it wouldn't be going this good. I only have a couple hundred subscribers, but I am, like I said, appreciative and thankful for them. But my channel is growing. Yes, I want to start doing Baby Michael. He deserves it, all the attention. He hasn't gotten much. That little monkey, and his mom is just tore up. So, again, thank you, everybody. Thank you for subscribing. If you'd like, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to my channel, share, like. Have a happy and wonderful New Year's Eve, and thanks for stopping by. Have a nice night.